Imagine walking into a coffee shop, which I'm sure a lot of us do, and you're looking at the menu trying to decide what delicious beverage you're gonna order to start the day. You're looking and you're thinking, oh, I would really like a really fluffy, foamy cappuccino with just that big old thick head of foam on it to really start my day right. And then what you get is something that looks like a latte. And you're like, what the heck? What is this? I didn't order this, I ordered a cappuccino. And the barista behind the bar goes, well, I gave you a cappuccino. And now you're infuriated. You're like, that is not a cappuccino. What are you talking about? I'm going to discuss and break down all the different milk beverages that I think are most common around the world and help you understand what to expect when you go into a shop and order. And since we're breaking them down, I show you how to make them. If you're a home barista, you'll know how to make all of these different variations, even ones you may not have known about. Having traveled to various parts of the world and experiencing coffee culture all over, I've noticed that words don't mean the same thing in all these different shops. Words get taken out of context and they get replaced in certain areas. And one of the most notable examples of this is the macchiato. If you go to Starbucks and you order a macchiato, you're getting this massive sugary drink. And the way that they say it is they are giving you milk marked with espresso, and they have caramel and drizzly, sugary stuff all in it. And that's not what you're gonna get if you order a macchiato in Italy, or if you go to a third wave shop, like a modern specialty coffee shop, and order a macchiato. I'm gonna ask that you actually hit the like and subscribe right down below, because that helps me a lot to make videos like this. Obviously, if I don't earn the like, don't like it, but that would be grateful. So I think it's important to kind of break down these differences through all of the milk beverages in order to give you a better understanding so that your day isn't ruined when you get something you weren't expected, so that you can kind of traverse these complex menus that are popping up so that you know what to get when you're traveling somewhere. It's good to understand how we can travel to other areas when you're at home. So how to make all these at home. And on top of that, how to travel to other areas in your cyberspace while at home, which brings me to today's sponsor. SurfShark is a virtual private network, and it gives you a ton of protection. It's something I use now that I've relocated to Portugal every day. If someone's trying to hack me, they don't know where I am, bro. They're like, yo, I'm like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. You have a specific IP that's connected to your phone, to your computer, to whatever you're using to access the internet. You can be hacked if you do that. Your Instagram can be hacked. Your YouTube can be hacked. Good God, please don't let my YouTube be hacked. So SurfShark allows me to set up an IP address in another country. I can do the Isle of Man. I can do Uzbekistan. We got it all, because guess what? I say, Netflix, I'm not in Portugal. I'm in Japan. And it says, here's a library full of what you want. And I say, thank you, SurfShark. If you're interested in getting one in order to protect yourself, protect your internet access whenever you're in an airport using free Wi-Fi, all these different things, use the link in my bio below, surfshark.deals/Lance Hedrick. So go ahead, take a look at that, click on it, and guess what? When you sign up for it, you get 3 months free on me. I'm paying for it out of pocket. I'm not really. Thank you, SurfShark, for sponsoring this video and to help educate all these people how to travel the world from the comfort of their own home, or if they're actually traveling the world. Either way. We're gonna start with the teeny tiny boys right here. What is this? Espresso for ants? In an espresso macchiato, you have your espresso and it's marked with foam. That was kind of the original intention, where you take a scoop of foam and you literally just put a little bloop, a little dot right there in the espresso. So normally it's a single or a double shot of espresso. You want it to have that nice microfoam texture, which helps integrate better with the espresso, and you have a more holistic kind of, cohesive experience. You might walk into a shop though, especially if you're in the US or you're in a lot of places in Europe where you have really modern shops, like in Singapore, like in Japan and South Korea and different places like that. When you order an espresso macchiato, what you're likely going to get is the same cup, espresso, and then it'll be filled up with loose microfoam like you get in a latte. So you have a lot more milk, so it's actually closer to like a bigger drink, but it's still considered a macchiato. You're still marking the espresso with just a little bit of that milk. In these cups can also come the campana, which is with whipped cream and different variations, but today we're kind of focusing on the lovely, delicious, silky, milky. Is one of these right and one of these wrong? No. Over time, things transform, they evolve, they change around the world. It's up to the cafe you're visiting what they want to serve. I had a great experience at a coffee shop in Memphis years and years ago, probably a decade ago, where I ordered an espresso macchiato, and the barista said, do you want a foamy macchiato or do you want it with microfoam? And so they actually gave me the option to have the dollop of foam or fill it with microfoam, which I think is an easy question. You know, if you're a barista, you always, you have that game with the customers where they're like, I don't know what I want to get. Well, do you want something hot or cold? Oh, okay. Do you want something milk-based or not? Okay, they want milk-based. Do you want something big or small? Small. Do you want a macchiato or a cortado? And then you kind of go through that, and it's not that hard to just add on that extra question of, do you want it kind of like foamy or do you want it with the microfoam? Which ideally the foam is microfoam as well, but you can just scoop the top layer foam off. I will not be taking any questions now. Yes, I will. I always do in the comments below, but cheers to the macchiato. We have the 3.5 to 4.5 ounce glass right here. Typically what you'll get if you go into a shop and you see one of these three words is you'll get something in here, and those words are Cortado, Gibraltar, or Piccolo. Now it depends on where you're at in the world. Typically Gibraltar is really famous on the west coast in the US, but that word has matriculated out. Cortado is well known most places around the world. And then Piccolo, I see mostly in like Australia and Eastern Asia. First, you have the Cortado, which it has roots kind of like in Portuguese and Spanish coffee culture. The way that they made it, though, is not really how it's made anymore, which had some sweetness in it and some other different things. Now what you'll typically get is you'll get something of this size where it has either a single or a double shot, 1 to 2 espresso to milk, or like a 1 to 3 espresso to milk. So that means either a single shot or a double shot. It's not gonna be super foamy or anything like that. If you have big egregious bubbles, send it back. Typical temp around 130, 140 Fahrenheit. Now, if you go somewhere and they have a Gibraltar, arguably started in blue bottle, baristas, they would very coolly steam milk so that it was at a chuggable temperature, maybe around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. They would steam it, pour it in, and they would just, boom, slam it, get on to shift, all right? Because, if you pull a steaming hot thing of espresso, it's pretty hot to slam. If you do a Cortado, it's a little hotter to slam. So, jibby, boom. So if you're a home barista and you're like, what does that mean? Try to steam your milk actually kind of cool, around that 100-degree temp where it's not that hot in your hand. Pour it, and the milk won't be as sweet. There's a chemical reaction that goes on when you're steaming past about 110 Fahrenheit where it gets a lot sweeter. So just, back up a bit, don't go that hot, and you'll get a little bit more of that espresso forward flavor. Now the third one is the Piccolo Latte, Dragon Ball Z. All right, not a big difference there. If anything, it might be a little less espresso to a little bit more milk. You're doing, it's like a small latte in one of these little cups. There may be some differences in interpretation of that, but for the most part, when you order any of those three, you're getting espresso and lightly steamed milk in a cup about this size. It could be a small ceramic, but likely it's gonna be in a glass cup just like this. We're good there. Now we come to the most contentious part of the video, and that would be the cappuccino or the flat white. Butting of the heads. So of course, cappuccino when it started did have a little bit of a more textured milk, maybe like 2 centimeters of foam. There is this weird thing that I heard even when I started as a barista 10 years ago. The traditional cappuccino in the Holy Land of Italy was a 1-1-1 ratio, 1 part of espresso to 1 part of steamed milk to 1 part of foam. That makes no sense. Typically in Italy, you're getting a single shot in your cappuccino, and those are typically around 25 milliliters. That would be a teeny tiny little like as small as a macchiato or smaller maybe. Don't believe that. What is a cappuccino? Well, normally it is a single or double shot, and then you have pretty thick foam that you're pouring into this. But of course, as the specialty coffee movement has grown, you have people that are really emphasizing the perfectionism in the cup, and you also have an obsession with latte art. And so it's turned into kind of the same thing as a latte. So something with sort of thinly textured milk that integrates really well with the espresso. When you do that really thick head of foam, which I know a lot of you do love, my wife loves it, it's like a puppuccino. Are you a dog? No. Again, you can drink it and enjoy it, it's fine. I don't particularly like it because you could stir that foam till kingdom come, and guess what? It's not gonna integrate with the espresso. When I'm drinking an espresso beverage, I want a full integration of the two together, so at every given moment I have coffee flavor on my tongue. If you walk into a coffee shop, it's like, wow, did Frank Lloyd Wright have his fingerprints here or what? You're probably gonna get a thinner textured cappuccino. In Australia, when you order a cappuccino, maybe it'll be a smidgen thicker, but in all reality, in all of my experiences through Melbourne and Sydney, which is limited, but I've been to a lot of shops there, what you'll get is essentially what they call flat white, and then they just toss either cinnamon or choco powder on top, mostly the latter. Now, what is a flat white? In response to that thick foam, dry foam movement that was happening, and like where you were getting that really, really dry foam, probably a reactionary thing to that where people are like, well, listen, I don't want that foam. I just want it flat. I want the white in it. I want the milk. I want it flat. I don't want that excess foam. What you're probably going to get with a flat white is essentially just a 5 or 6 ounce latte. So you're getting a single or double shot, depending on the shop yet again, and you're going to fill the rest of it up with lightly textured milk, just enough foam to give you a nice little bit of latte art, and you're good to go. Now, I will say I saw this big, and I'll link this below, a big survey from Sprudge where they talked to coffee professionals in New Zealand and Australia who fight over the inception of the flat white. But one of the big things that it said that it must be served in a thick-walled ceramic mug for a flat white. If you're seeing cups like this, you're probably going to get their cappuccino in this. It's probably like a flat white. It's confusing, but just know if you order a flat white or a cappuccino, sometimes they'll be the same thing. Sometimes they'll have the thick head. Sometimes they'll have a little dusting of cinnamon or choco on top. Then you know it's their cappuccino. I know that at a shop I worked at, if someone ordered a flat white, we gave them our version of a cappuccino, which was essentially a flat white. And I know for a fact that goes on in a lot of shops, and the way they differentiate is that choco powder. So I know that's gonna peeve some of you off because a lot of you love that foamy foam. But this is reality. So I guess if you're going into one of these minimalistic looking shops that you're convinced it's specialty and like they are gonna do that microfoam and you don't want it, then maybe say, I would like a dry cappuccino. That is a little tip for you all that most baristas are gonna know. That means you want more air in the foam. And so, maybe don't be rude about it. I don't want your latte and I want dry foam. Just I'll take a dry cappuccino. And if they ask what that means, just a little extra foam. I want a little bit extra air in that milk to make that nice pillow I can lay my head on as I'm counteracting the sleepiness with caffeine. So let's move on to the final. This is more so US because we have Texas, bigger is better, right? When you order a latte, you're getting something about this size. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh my goodness, is that supposed to hold French onion soup? That looks like a tank for a freaking octopus to live in. And yeah, no, I do agree. But what you'll get with a latte in the US especially is you'll get anywhere from an 8 ounce to even a 16 ounce beverage with a double shot of espresso and then steamed milk, lightly steamed milk, just a bigger cappuccino. If you order a latte in Italy, they do lattes there. You have to ask for a Caffe Latte. If you ask for just latte, that's Italian for milk. They're gonna give you a steamed thing of milk and give you a weird look and out the door you go. I know a lot of places in the US give you an option of like an 8 ounce or a 12 ounce, an 8 ounce or a 10 ounce, a 10 ounce or a 16 ounce, something along those lines. Now sometimes at some shops they'll add more espresso to the bigger ones, but the majority don't. It's just, do you want a stronger or a weaker beverage, or do you want a bigger or a smaller beverage? The caffeine content likely won't change. So if you walk into a modern shop, you see the guy back there who looked essentially like me a few weeks ago with my mustache, and you're like, hey, Lance look alike. What you're gonna get with any of these orders is you're gonna get like the same thing, just different sizes. I want a macchiato, boom, they put a double shot latte art. I want a cappuccino or a flat white, boom, they put a double shot latte art. I want a latte. I don't know, one of these sizes, and boom, double shot latte art. I know this is confusing, and it's like, oh my God, can they just not make it more simple? You have to remember there are 7 billion people on the planet. Cultures abound, and people take definitions the way they want. They morph them, they change them. It's like playing the grapevine game where you have like 10 people in a circle, you tell something to one, and as it goes around, it kind of changes until the end, and it's a little bit different. That's all that's going on in shops, so you need to have a little bit of patience. But there is one final drink I do want to talk about that I feel like is often overlooked, and it's very, very frequently served throughout Europe, and it's kind of, I think, the inspiration for how Starbucks does their macchiatos is what's called the latte macchiato. They'll take a cup about this size, they'll foam milk and get a good amount of foam, kind of like a cappuccino, maybe a little less, and then after they pour the milk all in till it's at the very top, they take the espresso and they just pour it right in the center. Now the idea here is you get this lovely separation of colors, and you have that foam sitting on top, so it gives a beautiful aesthetic experience with all these different colors going on in the cup, and just a different approach to how it is. You don't have as much integration of that milk and espresso. Your first few sips are going to be heavy foam, and then you get into that kind of melding together of the milk and the espresso. This is a quick little digression. When you do a latte art, you're shoving crema to the edges of the cup, and it's over concentrated around the edge of the cup, and the crema is the most bitter part of your espresso. So if you're drinking that beautiful latte art, you're probably going to get a really bitter first sip. So it might taste better to give it a little stir-ski. Now I know that that's like, oh, and I can't do that. Oh, that hurts. And I know that the barista back there who is really excited they gave you a 5-headed swan, and they see you stir it immediately, they're going to go, that's my art. It's okay. We're going for Flavortown, okay? Flavortown is where we want to live. And we have silky, milky beverages. Obviously, we're there for Flavortown because babies drink warm milk, right? And so we're just trying to relive our childhood, okay? If you're going places where they do animals and stuff like that, likely the integration's going to be shite, essentially. It's not going to be good integration because in order to get those types of designs with like the ton of squiggles and whatnot, they slowly add the milk, which means that you're getting thin milk going down very slowly to retain the crema. So you're going to have very low integration between the espresso and the milk. And usually it's steamed a lot cooler because the hotter you go for those intricate designs, the more fuzzy the edges of the designs get. But whenever you're going to a place, if they're known for latte art, you might want to order something that they don't have as much real estate to pour something ridiculous. Anyway, have patience with your local shop wherever you're going because the baristas there are doing what they were trained and they're doing their best to appease to you. But those tricks that I taught you, I hope that you use them. If you're wanting a cappuccino and you're wanting to make sure it's foamy, just use the word dry. If you're wanting a macchiato and you want it with all the microfoam, you can just be specific. I want a macchiato, but I want it poured from the jug, not scooped. A flat white with like no foam. I want a little foam. It like kind of braces my lips as I'm sipping it. It's nice. It's like a velvety kiss from the mug. I mean, maybe just say less foam, right? Baristas won't love it because baristas love latte art, but we have milk drinks explained. I hope that I covered everything in an intelligible way that you were able to follow and that you were able to take some of these snippets of information in your back pocket so that when you go to a shop, not only are you in another country, but you are protected by your VPN and you are protected by that velvety goodness that is caressing your lips in order to have a good rest of your day. Just know that if you're in Italy and you drink past 11 a.m., they are going to make fun of you and you're going to feel like the worst person on the planet. Everywhere else though, it's fine. Drink what you want when you want. It's all good because guess what? Ain't nobody caring. Well, there are Karens out there, but ain't nobody caring. And so you get what you want. Don't be a Karen. Just enjoy it and have a good time. Because that's what coffee's about, right? We're here to have a good time, all right? So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know below. If you hated it, let me know below. If you think that, this was a waste of time, it's fine. But anyway, at the end of all this, I hope it was helpful for you. And I hope that you brew something tasty today. Cheers.